You're listening to the Board Game Snobs podcast, a ridiculous podcast with ridiculous hosts that discuss ridiculous things. And any mention of board games is purely coincidental. And so, without further ado, and with a heavy dollop of shame and embarrassment on my part, I give you the Board Game Snobs.
Go.
I'm back, baby. This is Jerry. Did that not land right?
Did you want more fanfare? Oh, thanks for showing up to your own podcast.
Yeah.
Great to have you.
I like how you've just been getting
Great
fill-ins.
to have you.
You had Richard, which I haven't listened to. I need to listen to him.
I speak very fondly of you the entire time.
And I did listen to the episode with Mr. Dan Hughes, which I noticed about Dan.
Yes.
He instantly hated you. Like, the whole episode is him just being enraged with you.
He called me an idiot at least half a dozen times.
And you laughed it off, but yet every time I ensue that you might be a little bit ignorant, you get offended.
But Dan says it with an English accent, so it's just easier on the ears.
You saw?
You idiots.
With us.
Oh, by the way.
I'm Gabi.
It's Sharde.
That's Jerry. And
Sharde.
For some reason, Jerry's recruited Sharde onto this episode.
He has forced me to podcast.
You gave us some My Familia tequila.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
As a gift. And so thus you are our family. And so thus you can come on the show.
Since I gave you some tequila.
Yes.
Okay.
This is how this works.
If you pay us in
alcohol?
Yes, we're good to go.
Because, I don't usually buy my own alcohol. I usually, drink Gabi's alcohol
I
because he
know.
has all the money.
Yes. All the money. That's why I buy such things as Jim
it's
Beam
so true.
and Evan Williams.
No, you be buying those babies, by the week. I can't do that. I have to pay rent.
Well, I do what I can to support you.
Yeah, you support me.
And you drink all of my whiskey.
I don't drink all of your whiskey.
You drink quite a bit.
I drink your whiskey when I come over to your house.
It lasts a lot longer when you're not around. I'll just say that.
That is so bull crap. That's bull. You can drink a whole bottle by yourself.
Well, yes, I can. I wish I could,
Jerry,
but I never get a
you
chance because you
back me
drink
up on
half of
this?
it as well.
I just feel like you have false memories. You think I drink a lot of your whiskey, but I really don't.
What does a false memory consist of?
It's basically a fake memory.
You are wanting a memory that
fake
you
memory.
want to believe that's what happened.
Memories. 96.7.
So it's if you're one of these habitual liars and you lie and you make that lie, you say that lie so many times it becomes real to you.
Yes.
False memory.
Yeah. Do you ever have dreams and think
Or
does that dream?
I've heard under hypnosis when they say, "Oh, do you remember when this happened to you as a child?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, false memories." Right? You're a psychologist.
Wait, is he?
Yeah, I took a class on it.
I did too.
Did you?
Yeah.
How many?
Psychology 101.
So
whatever happens.
see, that's not fair.
What do they teach in freshman year of high school?
What are they teaching in psychology 2?
Psychology 2.
What
All
they
right.
don't teach in
Psychology
psychology 1.
also.
There was this professor that got a grant
That's your sophomore year.
to research narcissists. And so he needed a control group. So he got his class and they all submitted profiles. And while looking through the profiles, him and his team realized that they had an actual narcissist in their control group.
And it was you.
It was the professor.
No.
He had submitted his own profile and he himself was a narcissist.
Wow.
And if you want to know what a narcissist is, well, that's Mr. Dan Hughes.
Oh.
But he's also he's a psych nurse in Britain. I don't know how they do psychology over there. He drives around visiting old folks and checks on them.
They just dole out Yorkshire puddings to everyone, and it puts everyone in a better mood.
He is
that's how that will fix you for a little while.
The traveling narcissist.
Who is Dan?
Dan
He is
Hughes.
the British guy that I had on the episode a couple episodes ago.
Do you not listen to
yells
the
a
podcast?
lot.
I listened to your podcast. I
He
just
yells
haven't
a
gotten
lot.
that far. I just started listening from top to bottom.
He yells a lot and he calls me idiot all the time.
The previous one
I already liked this
was
guy.
the Scottishman, Mr.
Richard Simpson.
Richard. Okay, I met Richard through phone.
Through phone?
He called.
Like, what, you E.T.?
Yeah, and he called and he was like
Richard phoned
asking.
home.
He asked, "Where's Sharde?" Right, Gobs?
He said, "Where's Sharde?"
Where's Sharde? And I was like, "What?" He knows me.
He thought you had his Lucky Charms.
Well, the reason I invited you on,
Oh,
Sharde,
God.
is so because you and Gabi have your own little podcast, The Disagreeable
Our
Nerd,
own little podcast,
which is not, you give
Here
your
he goes.
poor
He's
opinion.
about to trash it.
No,
That's
I'm just
all
saying.
he does. He just berates anything that's unrelated to him.
What I would like to invite you on is so that you learn about chemistry, which is what me
No,
and Gabi
false.
have.
Me and Gabi have chemistry,
you
right,
don't
Gobs?
have any chemistry.
Jerry, don't berate people.
I'm
on
not
our podcast.
berating. I'm trying to
Me
help
and
her.
Gabi-
Telling her, you don't
Me and
know.
Gabi do have chemistry.
dare
That's why
you.
we're best
How
friends.
dare
Why are
you.
you attacking?
Because you're attacking us.
I'm not attacking you.
You
I just pointed, I just pointed out that your relationship is not as good as mine with Gabi.
No, that's bullcrap. That's false.
Okay, you're talking.
Sorry.
You're screaming real
See?
loud. See,
He's
here's
triggering-
The thing.
he's
I'm
triggering
trying
emotions.
To set
See,
microphone
notice
levels, and
when-
everybody talks normally, and then they start yelling. And
No,
I'm like, oh,
me
no.
and
Notice
Gabi
when
have
I
to
yell,
down.
I back away from the
That's it.
mic.
That's true.
Sharde, you have so
You gotta learn how to yell on mic.
So
And if you laugh, you go. "Ah!"
is this okay right here?
Just when you go to yell, pull back.
You and
Okay.
Gabi are both too meta. No wonder y'all's
Wait,
podcast
what are
is
you
not
talking about, Jerry?
both meta. Y'all
What does
talk-
that even mean?
All right, what do you want to go then? You haven't been here for a month. Don't put your hand on the
Gabby,
table. It's
you're
going to
also-
rattle the table.
I have been doing important things, fighting monkeypox, and
Fighting Mike.
drinking Japanese whiskey, which these two things tie in for two reasons. Number one, our dear listener and friend, I will call him a friend, Chad, he's in Japan.
Chesson?
Shashon.
Hi, Chad.
He is in Japan right now, visiting Japan. And also, there has been some dangerous activities that have occurred in Japan. Do you know about the monkeys? The gang of monkeys.
Yes, I heard about that.
Monkey gang member executed in Japan as marauding monkeys run
Monkey
amok.
I'm not
gang
even trying to be
members?
like.
Yes,
dang.
this is the headlines.
What the heck?
Pedestrians in a besieged Japanese city have been arming themselves with pruning shears
Dude,
because they
this-
turn their plows and swords into pruning
This
shears.
is like
Yes.
Planet of the Apes.
They were
crap.
once peaceful until the monkeys attacked. That's it. Planet of the
It's some
Apes.
Planet of the Apes crap right
Which
there.
that show made me cry big time.
Planet.
I straight up cried.
Although
too.
it's technically Planet of the Monkeys.
There has been more than 50
You know, monkeys are
attacks.
different than
Well,
apes.
Gabby, you don't have to explain that.
Monkeys have tails.
I-
Apes don't
okay,
have
yes,
tails.
Gabby.
Just FYI.
I know.
There's been more than 50 attacks in the city
What's
of
the deal with these monkeys?
Yamaguchi. Their gang is being led by a particularly violent monkey.
What's his name?
They've killed him. They found him.
Caesar.
They found him and they killed him. They executed him. Actually, they caught him in a school
That
and
is insane.
and he's like, I'm not going out like this.
and they had to euthanize him. Unfortunately, well,
Aw,
fortunately,
that's kind of sad, but also
No.
it's like these monkeys are
No.
vicious. So are these monkeys like rabid?
no, they're just mad. They're mean. They've shown up. So, like, do you not understand? Like bees.
Hand it up to here.
Listen, bees will be aggressive depending on the queen. So
Right.
that's why beekeepers will sometimes kill off a certain type of queen and put in a new one.
Right.
So if a gang of monkeys, if there's a particular leader of them that is aggressive, then they all get aggressive. So they had
So is
to.
that why all the British people are easygoing? Because Margaret is up there. I mean, Elizabeth's just up there
Thatcher?
like Margaret Thatcher. I was thinking of Margaret Thatcher. Queen Elizabeth's like, too old.
Pretty much. So they tracked down this 4.5-year-old monkey that was the leader they suspected, captured him, and put him asleep. I think this is my theory. This happened here just recently, and it happened to coincide with Chad's trip to Japan. I think Chad Chasson is an assassin.
And he's using monkeys.
No, he was paid by the Japanese government
Oh.
to go over there and using the guise of I'm on vacation because he just randomly went to Japan. Then he shows up and all of a sudden monkeys, the bodies start hitting the floor.
So did he dress up like in a monkey suit?
No.
Ingratiated himself into the monkey society?
Chad Chasson.
He had to go up there and stab somebody.
I could have swore
But he
you
didn't
were
kill
going
them.
on the monkeypox
He didn't
route.
kill
like
them.
He created it. Like I was going on that route, but
But he got like a bunch of bananas and like instead of cigarettes, they go buy bananas there. And so he's like trading bananas for favors.
Chad.
And
kind of
then
a
got-
stereotype
then
though.
got
Bananas.
Oh, we can't stereotype monkeys? I mean, on one side, I think
Hey.
it's a monkey.
Hey.
I feel like you should
Hey,
stay.
they're killing babies.
Do better.
I believe I can be a monkeyist at this point.
Chad Chasson is the John Wick of monkey assassins.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that through the ape vine?
That's funny.
Oh my god, did you look that up? Did you look
He
it
did.
up?
He got his
No.
phone and he
No,
looked up
I
monkey
felt like
jokes.
would never
he was
do that.
planning that. I felt it. in
I know
my
what that
bones.
monkey's name was. They killed.
Here you go.
Go ahead.
Furious George.
That's another good one.
Oh,
Another
God.
one.
Another one.
Do another one.
What kind of key unlocks a banana? A monkey.
Oh, that's not as good.
Oh.
That kind of lost me there.
Where do baby monkeys sleep? In ape ricots.
No.
That's not that good.
No, that's not
I
that.
don't
I didn't
really
like
get
that.
it.
Fell flat.
That's bad.
Favorite
flat.
show about monkeys? Congo.
No. Congo was terrible.
Maybe. It
I've
was
never even seen
better than
Congo.
what I remember. I have no idea who started
It's
it.
one of those that may have been like cheesy fun, but it was pretty bad when it came
Let me
out.
see.
Oh
but
my
that was
God.
like the
That was that Michael Crichton book.
correct.
This looks
No. Okay, it
terrible.
might have been the
The
bad.
monkey effects were atrocious.
They need to redo it. Let
This
me see.
looks
who's-
like the first movie with Mark Wahlberg.
I forgot Tim Curry was in it. Laura Linney was in it. Ernie Hudson, Dylan Walsh, Bruce Campbell.
Laura Linney's on Masterpiece Theater.
Is she? Oh man, it's got a 22% Rotten
Yeah,
Tomato.
It's rated pretty low. I have to say my favorite monkey movies, well, we're related monkey, but ape, is Planet of the Apes.
Which one?
Have you watched the old ones?
Yes, I've watched the old ones. No.
Did you enjoy them?
I actually will say I did like that when I was a kid, but then I rewatched it. I didn't realize
Darn you!
how
for making a family.
they look
Darn
very
you.
creepy.
Darn you to heck!
Hey, will you let her please
Oh, sorry.
discuss?
They look very creepy, like the ones from
It's
like
those-
2000.
yeah,
like
it was
I'm like
those-
they're like
Oh,
why they don't.
Are you
look
talking
like
about the
me.
Mark
Wahlberg
Wahlberg
one?
Yeah,
one?
is that the one y'all are thinking of? Isn't there
No.
I'm
another
talking
one?
about the 1960 Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston.
Oh God, I don't even.
You didn't watch that one?
Never
Did you know
even-
those exist?
Never even knew it existed. I just knew about the one with Mark Wahlberg.
Because that's when your life began.
So
It was like
you have a
2000.
you now. Remind me.
I just
you have
don't like Jerry. Can we just?
you have a podcast
can't-
about movies, don't you?
Jerry, you are about to. You're totally putting me in a box right now. Like
I'm just
you can't
asking.
do that.
I'm just
you cannot
asking.
do that. I've seen a lot of movies from the 90s, 80s, 70s, whatever.
You haven't
But there
been
are
anywhere.
some that I just have not seen yet.
You haven't seen anything.
I have to.
You're how old are you?
I
12.
hate Jerry.
I don't know what to tell you. Anyway,
Uh,
Chad's over there killing monkeys in Japan.
He's the John Wick of monkeys.
I just said that. Fighting monkey.
Wait,
pop.
did you really?
Yes, I said
he
that.
actually did say
I did,
that.
but he
I
doesn't
was here
listen
for
to
that.
me because he doesn't. He probably forgot it and thought he'd
Oh
come up
God!
with
Hey
it.
Jerry, how's that chemistry going for between you two?
Well, listen. Hey,
Half of it's me forgetting things.
You can't tell me nothing, bruh.
please.
So okay, so,
so original.
what are we? What's the? Oh my God, what are we going to do on this podcast?
I wanted to talk about family games
Okay,
and entry level games because we have an entry level person here.
family versus gateway. I mean, entry level's gateway, right?
I guess you could say that.
Okay,
I'll let you say that.
I just did.
All right, say it again.
I mean, I don't know. Entry level is like usually business related.
Say it louder.
Entry level's business related.
So your family games. What's a family game? Monopoly.
This was a discussion.
Gabby thinks they're the same.
No, that is not what I said.
you did.
I
You-
did not.
You
I
think
said
what's
there's-
the same? Family games and
I will pull up the Facebook post and say there are overlaps, and when I was thinking about it, I wasn't necessarily differentiating the two.
So they're the same.
That's not what I said. It's not what I said. But for me, when I think, see, here's the thing. When you're thinking about a family game, it depends on your POV.
No, it doesn't.
And I don't have, yes, it does, because when I think of a family game, I'm thinking of me, Gina, and Sharde. I don't have any small children, so I'm not playing Candyland.
That's not.
Don't you wave your hand at me as if
Wave
to
my hand.
dismiss the
he totally dismissed
Look here.
you.
There's your opinion.
It's like the queen, you know, when she waves to
Dan
people.
Hughes? Where's Dan Hughes when you
yeah,
need
call
him?
up your friend. No,
My friend that shows up to podcasts. Thank you, Dan.
you're welcome.
I consider a family game something that's like for everyone. Like everyone can like have a part in the game, I guess. Like, it doesn't have to be a kiddie game to be a family game.
Well, that's what.
R.I.P. Troy Werner.
I posted this on Twitter. I said, are family games different than gateway games?
Yes.
If you choose option depends, because I put yes, no, depends. Elaborate if you don't mind. Not many people elaborated. But 71% said, yes, it is different.
So they agree with me.
There is a 6%. I did not take a strong stance saying one way or the other.
None of your stances are strong. You're unbalanced.
Shut up.
Oh,
Shut
look
up.
here.
Oh, no, the last time every time.
Feel the chemistry.
Fight.
Kurt Erickson, also Patreon donator. Kurt
No,
Erickson,
you guys,
thank
you know what it is? Y'all have lots of passion. That's what it
Kurt
is.
Erickson said
very
it probably the
passionate.
best. He said, I think of family games as kid-friendly with action choices and visual components that are easily understood by young players. Gateway games similarly have simpler rule sets, but may contain adult themes or require a bit more cognitive load. I don't know what that's like. Those are quit using such big words.
Brain load.
To understand the action options.
Right.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so what I'm trying to
But-
point out is
Okay,
that
go ahead.
just because you have a family and your family happens to be old people
Yes.
does not mean that any game that you play with said family is thus a family game.
Well, it would be for me.
No,
but
no, it's
you
not
have-
subjective.
You
So
the term is not subjective.
No, nothing is subjective. You have to, and I agree, you have to set parameters. Like a rated R movie apparently is good for 17-year-olds. Why? Because they just made it up.
Because all 17-year-olds are deviants.
What makes a rated R movie? Not one F word, two. Why? Because they just made it up. You have to set parameters. I understand that. Therefore, that's why I understand there's a difference between family games, which, even though for me, would not include small children, but for the sake of this category genre, yes, it would include small children because those are the parameters that have been set.
So you're agreeing with me.
Yes.
You're wrong. You're saying you're wrong. I appreciate
I
you
never
being
said
a big
I was
man.
right.
You're a big man.
What is my size got to do with
Big
this?
of you to admit that you're wrong and that I was right. Because on the Facebook group, when I responded that they're not the same, you were
Okay,
like,
no.
false.
No.
Yes.
Let's go to that post, and
Yep.
I will show you exactly what I said.
Let's get the Wayback Machine
Facebook
fired
fights.
up.
Let's get our post up for podcasting. That's always good.
That's always fun.
Why don't you talk while I look it up?
Okay, I will.
Because you haven't been here in a while, and you need to let your voice be heard because we know that's your favorite thing to do. Go ahead.
A lot of people have probably wondered to themselves, why is this podcast? Why is the quality falling off? Well, mainly,
God.
I'm in the process of moving, and it's been a very difficult process. And so hopefully before, hoping to be moved in by October. So after that, I should be back to my normal activities of being able to podcast regularly with my dear friend and master of all chemistry, Gabi. But until then,
Wow.
unfortunately, Gabi is having to rely on mediocre co-hosts and other guests that he's invited on to kind of fill in the gap. There's
dare
nothing
you.
wrong with that.
He said mediocre.
I say mediocre. They're middle of the road. They're middle of the road. There's
That's
nothing.
not middle of the road. That's just low grade.
No, they're not. They're good. They're doing fine. They're
Sharde,
doing fine.
you learn to ignore everything Jerry
So,
says.
as that's happening, have you gotten to the point where you want to read that? You look like you found something.
I found the post. I'm still searching.
So
for
what
the exact
episode is
comments.
this of your board games podcast? 220.
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, it's up
I listened to y'all's episode 215, 16,
Okay, yeah, here we go.
and I think 14. And I have to say, I may or may not be a fan.
there. Why not?
No, I am a fan. I said may or may not, Terry.
Oh.
Why did you go totally
So-
negative first?
This post is from Ryan Maxwell. He said, I'm going to do an upcoming my teeth. Upcoming blog post on games that look or sound too heavy to be family games, but actually aren't. Anybody have any recommendations? The first couple I thought of, based on our family's experience, are Viticulture and Memoir 44. Now, based upon what he said right there, not family, because those aren't aimed towards children. One is war, one is drinking wine, correct?
I guess.
According to the parameters you have set, those are not family games because one is wine and the other is war. Okay, well, I'm going to continue on. I said that's why I often put quotes around quote unquote family games, because it's just like Gateway. We all understand the implication, but it all depends on the individuals. Some people's first game is Ticket to Ride, some Viticulture, some Letters from Whitechapel, etc. But to answer your question, I'd put Raiders North Sea in that category, blah, blah, blah. You say family and Gateway are two separate categories. I said I didn't say they were the same category. I said I put quotes around them because one person's Gateway is another person's Heavy and vice versa. But family and Gateway are often viewed as interchangeable.
They're not.
Which is what Ryan did in his post. He interchanged Gateway with family because according to the Kurt Erickson definition I just pulled up about family games would be visual components that are easily understood by children and action choices. I wouldn't think drinking wine, making wine, and World War II would be family games.
Okay.
Those would be Gateway.
He said, I'm going to do an upcoming blog post on games that look or sound too heavy to be family games, but actually aren't. And he thought of Viticulture and Memoir. So, in terms of that, again, I hate to say this, but both you and Ryan are wrong. But that's okay. You can be wrong together. Your comment regarding that they are both interchangeable, they are not.
I did not say. Oh my God. I said often viewed. See, you take a statement and you make it an absolute, which is something I don't ever try to do. Because once you take an absolute stance, then it's easily cracked.
Right, because all your stance are weak.
No, because everything you have said on our podcast, our last discussion about traveling, journey, and destination, everyone sided with me. Every email, they're like, yeah, no, you're right.
Gabby, you see what he's doing?
No, they didn't. They overwhelmingly agreed with me.
An idiot.
Overwhelmingly agreed with me.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did.
No, they did not. They're like, no, who wants to travel and be miserable?
No, they overwhelmingly agreed with me.
My God, your
I
point
cannot
of view.
believe.
You skew everything in your brain. You skew it because you're so focused on being right that you skew any phrasing to be your point of view, and you're wrong. No one said they may have said I agree with Gabi and Jerry, which is a cheat.
Chemistry.
But no one said I definitely am with you.
Hashtag
Everybody
chemistry.
agreed with me. The overwhelming.
Gobs, I feel
I'm
like you're very
exhausted.
triggered right
I'm
now. You're very
exhausted
emotional.
already.
Jerry has obviously triggered some trauma, emotion, or whatever.
All I'm saying, as I put here, Gabi says he puts quotes around them as Gateway and family. Gateway and family are not interchangeable. They're not viewed as interchangeable.
So you're saying no Gateway can be a family game?
No, I'm
that's
not-
what you're saying.
no, I'm
They're
not-
not interchangeable.
that's not what I said.
That is what you said.
What I'm saying is that in terms of categories, a family game is often viewed, as Eric was describing,
Often viewed, a phrase I chose.
as somebody that is something that can be played when you think of a family. Now, a family can be subjective, of course, in terms of their size, but the ideal age group of like young kids, it's a game that can span certain age groups, correct? By definition, if it's a family game, okay? So if your family happens to be people that are all within this very confined age group, does your family thus fit into what is the objective definition of a family game? Well, of course not, because you don't have this span, this age group. Does that make sense? You're playing with a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old, teenager, then people in their 30s and 40s type thing. That's the idea behind the idea of a family game. Now, a gateway game is different. A gateway game is a game for which can be played by people of different varying, I don't want to say abilities, but perhaps experience with board games. So you think of like a Zool or even Splendor, which I hate, but we'll use that as a good example. It's a game that can be very simple to explain, but not necessarily a family game, because it might be slightly too advanced for a 6-year-old or a 10-year-old or something of that nature. So a gateway game doesn't necessarily cross over. I'm not saying that there isn't any crossover, but there is a distinct difference.
I feel like this whole argument is because you say there's no crossover. Because I said they can be interchangeable, and you've taken this hard stance on no, they're not.
They're not. Interchangeable.
But you just said they were.
No, I didn't. I said no. I know. No, you're taking one. I said there is some crossover. Again.
What do you think crossover and interchangeable means? It means it goes.
No,
like this.
no, it does not. No. You are completely wrong.
No, you're not. You're wrong.
Let me explain why you're wrong.
You know.
No. Do you know what a Venn diagram is? Do you know what a Venn diagram is?
It's the circles that overlap.
That is not interchangeable by definition. Interchangeable
Pick
is
a family game.
That's no. Stay on
I
topic.
could interchange that with one that is considered gateway.
No. Stay on topic. A Venn diagram do not overlap.
It's a synonym.
No, they don't. They
The
are
Venn
not.
diagram it's the circles that overlap, and then this part in the middle
But
could be gateway or family.
Right, but they're not interchangeable because they don't completely cover over. They're not interchangeable. Interchangeable means they mean the same thing, and they do not. They do not. They do not.
You're saying what I'm saying.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
no,
you
no,
are.
you're not understanding. I'm saying is that family games and gateway games.
I'm not saying they're absolutely interchangeable. I'm saying I could take this one game that is considered family and also take family off of it and put the gateway label on it, and it would be the same thing.
And I'm saying is that there is a small subgroup of games that, yes, you can do that, but those terms are not interchangeable. You cannot say that this game is a family game and this is a gateway game and swap those terms. Does that make sense to you?
I'm saying you can on some of them, which is what I say.
No.
Which is what I said in the original Facebook post, often viewed. But you like to take this absolute stance on everything, and that's why you're always wrong, because someone can always crack that.
Family and gateway games are two separate categories.
Okay.
Okay, is that correct?
Yes.
So that's what I said.
Right. Yes, that is what you said.
Right. So,
but you're arguing, your whole argument is against me saying that they can be the same, though.
Yeah.
This game can be a family game
No.
and a gateway.
No. My argument is that you're saying that they're interchangeable.
I didn't say every single game is absolutely interchangeable. I said they can often be viewed as that, as Ryan did with Memoir 44 and Viticulture. Those are not family games because the themes are wine and war, not family.
I enjoy Wine and War. That sounds like that'd be a great board game.
Iron and Wine. It's a good band.
Is it?
Yes.
I've heard them.
I've never heard
Why'd
of
you
them.
so softly? I heard them. Where'd that come from?
She's doing Boy George.
What are you doing? Michael Jackson.
Hey, how do you go from yelling then to like?
Because he's just angry all the time. He can't handle it.
So I'm glad we've established the difference between family and gateway. Next
God, this is
subject.
exhausting subject.
I know, it's because Gabby can't be clear and take a
I
strong
was over here
stance.
like,
Oh
dang.
my God.
He
Here we
tries-
go.
You
Let's
know,
not.
the strong stand, you know,
Let's
one
not
thing,
start.
The one thing I really want to do is punch Jerry in the face, but I'm not
Hey,
going to
can
do
you do
that.
it? 'Cause I really
no,
wanna see
I
that.
don't,
This is
because
called
throat
nuance.
punch
This
lunch.
is called nuance. And
We don't
chemistry.
condone violence.
Well,
and
you just
therefore-
threatened it.
No, see,
Yes.
it's people like you that take a turn.
Why are you pointing your finger at
Stop
me?
yelling into the mic. What do you mean, you people?
We have you on the podcast for one time, and this is what breaks down. Our podcast is always calm.
Oh, it's mine. No,
You
that's
come on here.
crap.
And you
Because
stir
I
him up.
say,
I've
sometimes I feel like I want to. You say, "Oh, you just said you want to punch." See, it's people like that make the internet.
you feel
want this
triggered?
Twitter.
Quit triggering
Your
Gabby.
Twitter impersonate.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode.
That's
I'm glad
30
that we
minutes
fi-
of yelling. I'm glad you're
I
back.
don't know why
I'm
you
so
started
glad you're
yelling.
back.
It's not like your best
I don't
episode you've ever
know.
had.
It's probably not. But all I was trying to bring
When
up.
you listen back, you'll say, "You know what? That was a good episode."
That's a fire episode.
You know what's
I don't know.
weird? You know what's
I
weird
don't
is
know.
the episodes that we often record. I'm like, man, that was solid. We'll get lots of emails, lots of feedback. Crickets. Then we'll record an episode that I think is, oh my God, that, like, we didn't get to nothing, we didn't discuss nothing, and everybody will message us about it. Everybody.
Saying Jerry's right.
All right, yeah, that's a tight 30. So, Sharde, thanks for coming on this episode.
I
Thanks
didn't
for
do much.
Yeah.
well, you were recording us fighting.
You learned about chemistry.
I learned about chemistry for sure.
Chemistry.
Passionate.
yeah,
Very passionate.
chemistry. Water and oil don't. Well, that's not chemistry.
on the.
What an
That's cooking.
idiot.
What are some elements that don't get along together?
the fifth one.
That's going to do it for this episode. I'm Gabi.
I'm Sharde.
Wait a minute, this is Jerry.
Bye.
Later, dudes.
Thank you for tolerating this episode of the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.